Have you heard? SEO is dying. How many times have they said that over the last 10 years? If you've been in SEO for any time, I started back in 2012, then you've seen it all. I remember when voice search came out and everyone freaked out and they said SEO is dying. You don't need to blog anymore. How wrong that was. SEO has been adapting, and that's been the name of the game ever since Google started. But I'll tell you, the impact of AI in SEO is probably also one of the biggest ones I've ever seen. I think it will bring a monumental shift to how search engines work in general. I think Microsoft has proved that with their chatbot attached to the Bing web browser. Bing made a comeback because of what Microsoft built into it with AI. That said, SEO is definitely not dying, although it will be impacted forever by the advancement of AI. So let's get into it. Last December, the developer and creator of Gmail, Paul Buchheit, predicted something pretty crazy. He said, AI will eliminate the search engine result page, and it will cause total disruption for Google. I think Google knew this whenever they released Bard. They are hustling to get ahead of the AI changes. Microsoft is quite frankly leading this space, and Google is having a hard time catching up. Google makes substantial money from SEO right now. In fact, PPC makes up 60% or more of their revenue. Going back to the prediction from Gmail's developer, Paul, he said that the way he sees the future is that the search bar of Google in your browser will get replaced by an AI that, number one, auto-completes the thought as you type. Google's already doing that, but also writes an answer for you, much like ChatGPT writes real time after you prompt it, giving you that answer. But Paul said Google's evolution will include a link back to that product or service. So you'll still have domains that are there present in SEO and search. If this were to happen, this would add a lot of weight to domains. Just going back to the principles that were always true. Have a domain name that reflects what you do. Build it up over time with a high DA. Publish content consistently. Become the topical authority in your niche. And you can't do that with just a couple blogs, by the way. You need to publish content at scale. Perplexity.ai is one tool that's been created by some of the people that helped create ChatGPT. It's definitely a great tool to check out because it gives you what could be the future of Google. You can play around with it, test it out for yourself. But there are growing concerns around this prediction that Paul and now others have made about the future of Google. One is the open source knowledge that we all have access to whenever we are Googling information. So in essence, we are choosing the results because we can scroll through millions of results and pick the one that we find the most trustworthy. If Google were to shift completely to an AI-based search engine writing the answer out for us, we would lose that open source feel of being able to pick and choose a source we find trustworthy. There's also been some growing concern around ChatGPT's level of control because there is some bias that appears in the answers that it writes for you. And as humans, we like to be in control of our own choices. We don't want some AI chatbot making it for us. Will Google think about all this as it evolves? Time will tell. But how will AI specifically affect SEO? I think our answers can be found in the timeline of how Google has adapted so far every time some naysayer goes, SEO is dead. Which, a lot of that is mostly clickbait to get you to click on their headline. Google remains the largest source of traffic in the world with over 80% of all online traffic starting with a search. It is the king when it comes to traffic. So to say SEO is dead isn't even likely to be true. It's how will we adapt? How will Google adapt? How can we stay ahead of the game and adapt as website owners, marketers, entrepreneurs? That's the question we should be asking, not is SEO dead? Back when voice assistants like Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant all became popular around 2013, voice search actually led to the development of semantic search, which focuses on understanding context and intent. Now, it's true that if you're asking Alexa for an answer, you're getting one answer, which likely links to one domain, eliminating the scroll through all the search results. But this didn't change the way Google worked. It just changed how they understood what to rank. And different signals became more important. Content needed to become more topically relevant to the domain as a whole. SEOs needed to understand the intent behind a keyword. Should I try to rank a product page? Should I try to rank a blog? Should I try to rank a website service page? Understanding the intent behind the keyword became almost, if not more important, as writing the content for that keyword. So voice search didn't kill SEO. In fact, it made content, good SEO content, even more of an X factor, because now you need to get found in semantic search. Your content needs to be topically relevant with context. You need to have more pieces associated with it. You need pillars and clusters of content. When mobile first indexing came along and Google prioritized ranking sites that were optimized for a mobile device, what did they prioritize? The speed of that website. How fast do pages load? And did that website actually have a mobile version, which can be done by a website developer? Did it kill SEO? Again, no. It simply meant that we adapted. Page load times now became a critical factor. If our site pages had speeds more than 3 seconds per page, then we wouldn't get ranked because of that mobile first ranking factor. User experience began to be another X factor for Google, which is why it launched Google Core Web Vitals. These metrics focused again on page loading time, the interactivity of that page, and visual stability of the overall site. In other words, you needed to provide a seamless user experience on all fronts across your website. The one thing that remained constant throughout all of these changes over the last decade was, in fact, content. High quality, valuable content was and still is king. Google's EAT acronym now embodies what we need to go after whenever we publish a website and whenever we create content. EAT, with the double E, stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. These are the factors we need to meet whenever we're publishing content. Does it uphold trust? Does it build authority? Do we really know what we're talking about here? Is there experience and expertise involved? All these factors we talk about in my craft framework, which is a framework we apply in the AIO process. The human is now the optimizer of AI content instead of a baseline writer saving 7+ hours and countless amounts of money and time in the long run for SEOs publishing content at scale. But you need to apply the craft framework. You can do it literally in minutes versus hours because content at scale is just that good of a long form writer. But you need to cut the fluff. You need to review, edit, and optimize that work. You need to add images and pictures. You need to fact check, and you need to trust build with personal story and experience. That trust building factor is how you stand out now. With AI, it just became even more important because AI will never be able to tell you how a pizza tastes. AI will never be able to tell you how leggings fit. AI will never be able to recommend the best protein powder for a workout. AI isn't a human. It can't try on pants. It can't work out. It can't taste pizza. So until that changes, and who knows, maybe AI can one day, but until it's there, we have the opportunity to put our own experience into our content and draw in readers and build authority in Google. And this is what we should be doing, because even if Google were to change to a ChatGPT-like interface, there will still be weight put on domain names and the attached authority. That will never change. So if anything, you should be hustling and doubling down on publishing great long-form content from your site more than ever, adding in your own personal experience as the X factor of your content. So SEO is far from dead. Don't believe the myths out there. Don't believe the clickbait headlines that constantly put that in your face. It's just simply not true. But the question should be, how will Google adapt and how will you adapt? Start saving incredible amounts of time and money today with our tool Content at Scale, which is the leading AI writer for SEO marketers. Try us out today at contentatscale.ai. Sign up to get a link for a special offer where you can try us out for a minimal fee before you commit and buy. So again, go to contentatscale.ai and sign up to get access to that special offer. This is the AI writer that will change the game forever when it comes to SEO content creation. No longer do you have to sit at the desk and write and sweat for hours and hours to come up with a 3,000 word blog. This tool does it for you, and it's research backed and it's good content. What more could you ask from an AI writer? I hope that this helped you and gave you some insight or at least spark thought so that you head in the right direction from here. SEO isn't dead. It's just a question of how will it adapt and how will you. Be sure to keep watching our videos for more informative stuff on these topics all about AI and content marketing and SEO. This is what we're talking about, and you can expect more good content. Our goal is to really help you cut through the clutter and help you get to the truth of what actually works when it comes to ranking your website using, yes, AI written content and best practices for SEO. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, and comment if you have any questions. We love hearing from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.